And here we go, in the bottom right-hand corner as the red Terran. It is IVD's Apocalypse. IVD, a North American team. A lot of Americans on there. And what's important to note is that Apocalypse is like their main Korean guy that they go to.
Yeah, he's the main man. Lots of pressure on him.
I know. He's the one that says, when the team comes out, they say, hey, we have the round of 16 premier Terran player.
Yeah, and it's so important just for exposure of a team to have one guy who's really carrying the torch.
Yeah.
Like, Quanic without Hyun would be such a different team. If Apocalypse can make it through, it'll do a lot for his team, I think, and for him individually as well.
It's someone to rally behind, right? Someone to say, hey, yeah, this is going to be awesome. Over on the top left-hand side, who do we have, though, Mike?
We have E.G. Suppy.
Woot woot.
I think his name is missing the raid call from the end of it, but nonetheless.
It's okay.
Maybe it's an imposter.
Maybe.
No, just kidding.
Maybe. You know, Apocalypse, I've talked to Apocalypse a good amount of times. He's actually good friends with Kwongson. If you didn't know already, I used to, train with Kwongson. I used to coach him a little bit in Season 4 of NASL.
Not in StarCraft. You mean chess?
No, in StarCraft.
Oh.
How dare you? Why would you say not StarCraft? You're such a mean person. Anyway. My feelings are hurt. No, yeah.
I didn't mean it.
Hwangson's very, very good friends with Apocalypse. They train all the time. So I kind of get like the inside scoop of what Apocalypse is doing, what he's going through. And I know nerves do play a big factor into his play. So hopefully those are kind of shaken out. He's getting a lot of experience, though. That's one thing that we can say. So that's fantastic for him. We'll see if that carries over. He's able to take out Suppy here. He is down 0-1. You see a very standard opening from both these players. No gas coming out from Suppy. It is a Reaper in the very early stages. Nothing of too much value, though.
Yeah, nothing too unusual is going on. Extractor being built, I think just to save the drone.
Look at this, a second Reaper.
I mean, that's normal.
I don't like the second Reaper, Mike.
Why not?
I think it's too much gas.
Yeah, actually, lately, you have players aren't able to accomplish too much with them.
Yeah.
It could be good to just cut the second one.
I feel like once you get the queens out, it's very easy to stabilize. Embellish your vestige, I guess it's a little bit harder, but still Zerglings, and let's be honest, with how drone micro has evolved, I really think it's good. But it looks like Apocalypse is able to do a lot of work here, so this is paying off really, really nicely.
Yeah, what Suppy did there is a little bit risky. I think, oh yeah, moving his queens to his natural before the second queen have finished in the main.
Yeah.
So usually, to play it safe, you keep one queen in your main base until the second queen from the main is spawned, and then you transfer it.
Look at this, 3 queens are going to intercept some of these Reapers. Take out one of them. And a good job being done. Double extractors over at the natural, though, and I'm not sure, did he actually see them? He saw one of them going up, but he didn't see everything else. 6-minute timing, 6 to 6:30, I would say, is when standard normal standard normal third bases are going to be popping out here. So he just checks.
I think we're going to see a 2-base Muta again from Suppy. He's making a spine, he has 4 queens, and he's doing a lot of gas income and now layer. So I think it will be 2-base Muta again.
Mike, I'm not a huge fan of 2-base Muta, honestly. I feel like it just puts you out on the map for way too long, or excuse me, it doesn't put you on the map for way too long. And a lot of Terrans are able to take advantage of that by just having a good Hellion count and denying a lot of creep spread.
Well, in general, I'd say that it does have these disadvantages, but against this opening from Apocalypse with Reapers, I think the 2-base Muta is pretty good. I think you can always do it against Reapers and never be behind. Because the biggest disadvantage of 2-base Muta is actually if Terran takes a quick third CC and goes and takes the third. Because if you're doing 2-base Muta, and you want to pressure, you have to commit all your larva to it. So you can't drone, even though you have the economy to do so.
You have very, very little pressuring tools, right? Like Terran, for the most part, if they get Hellions out, they know they're safe.
Yeah, but I think against Reapers, this build is very good because he's able to have a super good creep spread with the 4 queens that's able to defend Hellions with 4 queens, and he just takes the third, and even maybe a 4th sometimes once the mutas are out.
And we've kind of come full circle too, because I want to mention, you know, that second Reaper, you might say it's only 50 gas, but 50 gas represents 25 seconds.
Yeah.
In terms of your tech, right? You can get your factory out 25 seconds faster. You can get your Hellions out 25 seconds faster, and this all compounds because you're at a much shorter time where you're doing this Widowmine drop, which is coming in.
Yeah, what I do like this game that Apocalypse is doing though is first, he's not making Banshees. Second, he's getting a quick stim. So by the time the Mutalisks are out, he's already going to have stim, which will help a lot in dealing with the Mutas. And this drop with Widowmines, I like it too. It's not committing much. You can fly away. You're not investing much into it. He's losing nothing, and he has more Widowmines now than he had in pretty much all of last game, which is good too.
That's right. I mean, a lot of good stuff coming out from Apocalypse. He is getting his 1-1 engineering base on the way out as well. And look at this mass barracks down at the 9-minute time. That's actually very standard. So
this Viking is very good too. With the starport this game, he did two things. One, he went for the mine drop with 1 medevac, and with the Viking is able to clear out Overlords, which now it's not that big of a deal. You lose a bit of money, but it sets him up for a mid-game when he can do more medevac drops. Suppy probably won't replace those Overlords until he has at least Overlord speed, and then only sometimes. A lot of the time you'll forget it because you're busy with creep spread and so much other stuff. So this is really good. And we already see it has 2 kills, and it's basically cleaned out all the Overlords spotting on both sides of the map. So
that's right. And now Suppy is going to exercise control over the map. He has great creep spread, especially for the build that he's doing. This should not be this far up. But Apocalypse, it's been hard. I mean, as we were talking about, it's the build. It's hard to really punish this type of creep spread with only 4 Hellions. Of course, there are a lot of Queens, Zerglings that are really stopping and preventing the Hellions from denying that creep.
When you go quick Reapers, it's kind of difficult to punish a 2-base Muta from the Zerg player because you don't have that barracks production early enough to do a timing, and you don't have a 3rd base early enough to take an economic advantage.
Yeah.
So I think even though Suppy doesn't gain much of an advantage except in creep, he stays even with Apocalypse and sets up for a mid-game where if he plays better, he can win.
Well, he's definitely playing really well. Back in Apocalypse's game, base, though, he is already finished with 1-1. Doesn't yet have his armory prepared. You can see he's reacting, saying, oh, crap, I forgot my armory. I can't get my 2-2 in time. It will give Suppy, or shouldn't even say give Suppy, it will decrease the amount of time Apocalypse has to do that 2-2 timing, which is really, really important.
Still, he's going to have plenty of time to do it, I think. Suppy's 1-1 is actually very late. Usually when you do 2-base Muta, you get the 1-1 started as soon as you make your first round of Mutas, but he started it a bit later. Maybe he forgot, maybe he just likes to get more Mutas than people normally get at first when they go 2-base Muta. But regardless, his 1-1 is very late. So even with the delayed armory, it's still a nice upgrade lead for Apocalypse.
Definitely so. He's pushing out into the middle of the map, clearing out a lot of creep. I love it, love it, love it. Just making sure that he maintains his side of the map, which is so incredibly important.
Suppy also did spread those Overlords again, which is good. It'll let him spot incoming drops. I think he's set up in a nice position. Apocalypse, though, he's doing much better than last game. He denied the creep spread by taking out all the active tumors at the front, and because of that, he can kind of set up and move around and have more map control than the previous game.
Yeah, he needs to be careful, though. He's walking a little bit fast on creep. And this is a time where Zergs are actually strongest relative to the Terrans just because they have all their larvae committing towards units, whereas a lot of Terrans are just now getting up to their 3-base economy. You can see 2 barracks are starting right now. Of course, that second factory is just about finished right now. So this is a tough time where there's a lot of investment going into the production rather than going into units. So he has to be a little bit careful. And Suppy is just gearing up for an attack. He has a lot of units coming in here.
Apocalypse shouldn't be in much danger, though. It's actually fairly safe to be on creep, as long as it's not creep with active tumors on it. Because you don't actually get vision from the creep unless you have active tumors at the front. Or not active tumors, but any tumors. So since he cleared that, and you're at the edge of it, it's fine. And with 4 medevacs, he can lift up most of it and boost away anyway. But I think right now, I'd even give the lead to Apocalypse a bit, just because Suppy's 4th base just finished, and he doesn't have any mineral income there. And Apocalypse is ahead in upgrades, which is setting him up pretty good for the mid-game. However, I think it'll come down to how well his composition works out. Because unlike most Terran players, he's not going for Mine Bio, he's going for Hellbat Bio, which is a bit unusual. Hellbat Bio, like, if you get enough Hellbats and you can split them well, it can actually work out better than Mind Bio sometimes. But you need a bunch of Hellbats for it to,
to
be
really
truly effective.
negate the Zerglings instead of negating the Banelings.
Yeah, because with Hellbat Bio, what you're going for is after the Banelings are used up, you still have a couple Hellbats left.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then all the Marines will just die to the Banelings. So
It's going to be interesting, especially for this first engagement, as Apocalypse is gearing up, and he's done a great job of just limiting this creep.
he has a nice supply lead as well.
Yeah, 162 supply to 198, so we do have a max out Terran at this point.
And Suppy's 2-2 won't be done for another minute or so.
That's right.
And Apocalypse with a nice pre-split, this is especially important.
Whoa.
Those Hellbats are kind of clumped, but
Oh man, they're going to the same places. Beautiful Baneling connections, but is it going to be enough?
I don't know, like, with even one Hellbat left, the Zerglings can't do much against it. And that Thor... okay,
and he's just going to pick up and run away. Wow, I mean, those Baneling connections were absolutely incredible. That's what really got Suppy to win out that battle. And from here, I wouldn't even say Apocalypse is that far behind, though. He still has another reload. That was a lot of Banelings to be used. I mean, you can't really take away. Yes, there were great Baneling connections, but a ton of Banelings were overmade. And what Suppy wanted was just to clear everything up in decisive fashion. But now, round number 2, and I don't know if this is going to be nearly as effective. Targeting down the Thor immediately. And now, Mutas have free reign on everything, but the reinforcements are going to come out.
And Apocalypse still in the supply lead. That's kind of normal in ZVT these days. Kind of flipped around in HOTS, where Terran normally has the supply lead unless something goes wrong. I mean, Apocalypse, he is now just starting his 4th. It's kind of late, but this is okay, I guess, because until Suppy techs to Hive, you don't need to have 4 base mining as Terran. Or until your main mine's out, I mean. Like, 3 base income is good enough in ZVT against a 4 base Zerg.
Yeah. But you also have to keep in mind, like, the main and natural are mining out really, really fast.
Yeah.
Even 3rd base, but here we go, another engagement. This is beautiful for Suppy again. If we can get
that
the
went
connections.
well for Apocalypse. Those Banelings, some of them circled the Thor. I'm not sure if they hit it or if it just walked past and died to units shooting. But they didn't get any connections on the Marines, which is what he needs there.
Yeah,
and now Suppy only has 5 Banelings here. And the Marauders is actually so important. What top Terrans, including Apocalypse, do is they unhotkey the Marauders from their units when they push in. So when they stim and kite, the Marauders are standing still, shooting Banelings the whole time. Like, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And Apocalypse is doing it perfectly.
Because now all of a sudden you can't just A move. You have to right-click move and then individually split all the Banelings. It's just so important. Clearing out the 4th base is so efficient. Now Suppy is on kind of like a ticking time bomb here, where if he lets it go too far...
I think Suppy's only hope now is to get a miracle engagement. Clean up an army, and then push to the advantage. Because if Apocalypse doesn't take a bad fight, he's in such a good lead in this game. Like, denying the 4th is huge.
Yes, I agree. Like,
yesterday,
Zerg absolutely needs that.
Yesterday we saw, against Hack, we saw, who was it? Come back?
Bjol.
Bjol, we saw Bjol come back when being behind on bases. But in that game, Bjol had a huge mutaflak. And I think maybe that should be what Suppy tries to do to come back. Try to slowly build up the muta count while defending, and then use that to snipe the 4th.
Yeah, it's just so incredibly hard. Look, the splits again, only coming in from a single angle. And you can see how much the Banelings actually suffer from having to just regularly move commands. Still a good job. Look at this. Everything's going to be cleared up. But look at the straggling units coming in here. Just a ream of units coming out from the natural, coming out from the main base, and it's just so much because the barracks production is so good from Apocalypse, 144 supply to 123, and taking the 4th base.
Suppy's problem is he doesn't have a Mutacloud, he doesn't have a 4th, he doesn't have too much going for him here. And because he doesn't have any advantages, he has to spend most of his gas investing in Banelings to defend.
Yeah.
Which means, like, it's hard to catch up if you're not able to, like, take some advantage.
Yeah. And you know what? If he would have stopped that one attack, he would have been in perfect position. I mean, the main base, look at Apocalypse. It's basically mined out. Natural, basically mined out. 3rd base is looking so completely ravaged because of how many mules have been allocated there. If Suppy was able to hold on to his 4th base, the game would be over. He wouldn't need to tech switch. He wouldn't need to do anything. Just stay on Zerg and Baneling Muta. But he just was not able to do it because of, honestly, I would say the composition. The composition is so cool.
Composition and just good micro, too. I'm pretty sure he also is unhocking the Hellbats when he kites. Because if the Hellbats and the Marauders are just staying immobile. They'll shoot more than if you're trying to kite with them.
Yes.
And they'll kind of block the pathing of Bannings moving into the surrounding Marines.
Yeah, definitely so. Now big surround coming onto these Marines. It looks like Suppy will yet again stabilize a little bit more.
Got canceled.
Yeah, and these Marines are just having a field day, killing drones left and right as they approach.
Oh, and he just lost about half his mutas too there.
And it looks like Apocalypse is going to come back into this series and tie things up 1-1 apiece. Suppy down to only a single, well, maybe 1.5 mining bases. The natural almost mined out as well. Looks like any one of Apocalypse's bases at his main are natural. But the Marines just too much at this point.
Yeah, a lot of Suppy's supply that's left is in drones too. His army is just a handful of Bannings. He only has 4 mutalisks left. Even if he can clean up this forest, he won't have enough to counter until the 4th base. I guess maybe he's trying a counterattack now. Suppy kind of likes to hang in games pretty long, just collect his thoughts, think about the next game.
Yes. Yeah. And maybe even tire out his opponent.
Yeah. But I think we'll be seeing a GG momentarily as Apocalypse pushing into the main base and taking out the hatchery and the hive. Suppy, he doesn't have much of a response. He ran around like he was looking to do a counterattack, but he didn't actually decide to do it, and he's coming kind of back now. Not sure what his units are planning on doing here.
They're just chilling, man.
I guess they're picking off reinforcements.
Anything that he can get. He's getting that experience.
Yeah.
He wants to go over level 3.
Suppy actually, he got Burrow this game, but he never used any Burrowed Banelings. I think maybe he just forgot in the heat of the moment.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. GG. Apocalypse will tie up the series 1-1.